Yo, 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 yeah! It's your boy Young Wiz.
And it's Billionaire Blaze.
And this is ConcreteConvos. And as y'all can see, we have a guest. This is the good brother, Black Excellence, Deontay Carter. Let's give him a round of applause, Blaze. First of all, I want to appreciate that you came all the way out here. You know what I mean? 'Cause I know this is deep. And I know this is probably way far from where you was planning on going.
Well, my aunt lives out here, and I got a few homeboys that live out here, so.
Oh, so that's
but y'all
good.
still in the boonies.
It wasn't because you really wanted to show off that BMW?
Nah, man.
That thing is clean, baby. Nah, that thing clean, bro. You should be proud. I saw you on the grade. You was proud. Then you could be proud now too.
You know, I was, man. I mean, I think y'all don't understand, man. I had the same whip since college.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, my rims was all scraped up. You know, I got dents all over it. You know, so that transmission shut down. I was like, man.
Oh, that was it. So you ran to the wheel.
Yeah, I did, man. I haven't had a car now in like 6-7 years. You know, that's big for me. You know, because this whole money thing, what people don't understand is like, how do you keep money? You either make more money or you save money. And so if you're saving money, you got to look at the ways you can save it. So if I ain't spending $400 on a car note, that's $400 additional I got, you know, in my household. Yeah. So yeah, man.
Well, man, you know, if you ever get tired of it, you know what I'm saying? You can just park it right there, leave the keys out, you know what I mean? I'll take care of it for you, you know what I mean? Keep it clean, no dents. You ain't got to worry about the transmission, no nothing. You know what I mean? So let's get right into it, man, because, you know, I got introduced to you from Hits 92.3. Shout out to Hits 92.3. You have a show on there, Beyond the Brand.
Yeah.
I actually got to sit in for one of your shows, and I was just pretty much blown away on how you carried the interview and things like that. So I really just want you to tell the people who you are, exactly what you do. Talk your shit. That's what I want you to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I appreciate you guys having me on the platform. And you know, when you invited me, I didn't hesitate because I think it's really big for people who've been able to do what I've been able to do to turn around and give back. You know what I'm saying? And I was listening to Byron Allen on the Breakfast Club the other day. And he talked about the three battles that black people had to fight. So we had that battle of getting our freedom from being enslaved.
Yes, sir.
Breaking away from the Jim Crow laws.
Yes, sir.
Civil rights movement. And he said the next one is economic inclusion.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We still cut out of this. We still don't have the money that other communities have. And so being able to be a place, and people don't understand, you know, if we want to play in this game, we got to build something. You got to create leverage. Nobody's going to give you leverage. You got to go out and take it, and you take it by creating something. And that's why I created Carter Media Group. And so it's a PR firm, works with attorneys. And the reason why I wanted to work with attorneys is because 90% of their cases impact who? Us. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just really passionate about us. I'm really passionate about telling our stories. And, you know, in doing so, I mean, we've been on some big cases. You know, I helped Attorney Griggs with the case of Maggie Thomas. She was sitting in the car behind her apartment complex, and the cop said, as he drove past the apartment complex, he saw her vehicle, and it looked like a vehicle that was mentioned over his radio in a robbery. My thing is, we drove past that apartment complex 4 or 5 times, and you couldn't see behind it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you catch one lie, you know there's some more in there.
Right.
And so then he said he saw the license plate. Well, you couldn't have seen the license plate because the vehicle didn't work and it was parked in reverse. Right. You know, it was up against a wall. Yeah. And so the more and more that we dug through, the more and more we found all these errors. And so we put a story together. And next thing I know, with all the information, we put it out on Facebook and IG. Thing went viral, was doing numbers because she ended up getting beat up by the police in front of a 4-year-old daughter. And you hear a little girl screaming, Mama, get off my mama. You know what I'm saying? You're like, what in the world is going on here? And so we put it together. We broke down what happened. Man, I'm getting calls from Italy. I'm getting calls from Jamaica. Everybody like, how in the world? Because the cop got fired in 7 days, which is historic. You know what I'm saying? Like, for him to be fired, like...
Immediately.
Yeah, immediately. But, I mean, that's the whole thing that black people have been complaining about for the longest is what? police accountability, due
Exactly.
process. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, the fact that we actually had to go out there and do the work, and you know, Attorney Griggs, I mean, he's just highly intelligent. He can look at a police report in an instant and be like, okay.
And not to cut you off, but I just wanted to read some good words from the brother Gerald Giggs that he said about you. He said, "You are worth your work. You are worth your weight in gold. Your work is phenomenal."
Oh man, I appreciate it. I mean,
man, for somebody at Greg's status to give you that much props, like, it gotta feel great.
It does. And I mean, I think the big thing that I really focus on is just making sure, again, that we telling our stories. Like, it's so funny because, so, you know, you go on the Buckhead, and there's some attorneys I work with in Buckhead, and they laugh. They were calling Griggs a professional agitator. And they were like, but you got the world listening to this dude. But what I try to explain to people is, like, Griggs had the goods before I came in here. I just knew I needed to tweak this, tweak that, I just made some tweaks. And I think, and that's the way I look at us. I look at Black America. We not bad. We just need tweaks made. You know what I'm saying? But you don't realize that until what? Until you go out and you get the education and you start. Because I'm looking at it now. And people are like, man, like, you just started your company 2 years ago. You done had the R. Kelly case, you know? Like, and I took the case before he was even charged. And we were able to tell those stories. And we went live, had like 12 to 15 cameras outside of Griggs' office. Had them all out there, and we broke down the case. And it's so crazy because it was like, as we're breaking down this case, the media, they didn't even focus on any of it. Like, we laid out the facts of the case, and they didn't focus on any of that. But 2 days later, we got a call from the feds. It was like, can we see it? You know, because they knew what was going on. And so that's what I'm saying, just being able to tell those stories, because the way I see it, the minute that you can get Black men and Black women to come together on one front on all of these issues, you're looking at some transformative stuff that's going to happen in our community.
That's definitely.
So,
we just got interviewed yesterday on the Royal Couch, and that's exactly what we was talking about. Now, the Royal Couch is a predominantly gay platform. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to take it on because I feel like we're not having those conversations. Just because of the little differences we have, we just not. We don't want, first, the one thing is we don't want to get labeled. And then two is it's just like we don't want to have these conversations which will be difficult and expose things about yourself. But I want to go back a little further because you got a dope resume. And I want you to give the whole thing out, you know what I mean? I want you to start right back in Florida where it all started.
Yeah, you know, so I went to FAM, Florida A&M University, you know, Rattlers, home of the Rattlers, highest to 7 hills. Striker from the top, that's what we like to say. And, you know, that's just what we do. But yeah, so, you know, it's crazy because, you know, I got a few other college offers, but I chose to go to FAM because of my best friend's dad. You know, so growing up, my pops wasn't in the house, single parent household, you know, and it was tough, you know, I'm not gonna lie. And it's so crazy because there were so many times like football practice would be ending, and I'm sitting over here getting ready to walk home, and he would come over and say, Dante, jump in the car, I'm gonna take you home. And I'm like, man, I only live a mile away, like, bro, I could walk home. You know, but I didn't understand how many traps were out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and so, I mean, him taking me home, talking about going to college, and I saw what he did with his life. You know, because he didn't have to. I mean, it was 4 of us, and we was all tight. But out of the 4, it was only one that had a dad in the home. Like, how crazy is that? You know,
that's regular where I'm from.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, that stuff used to bother me growing up. Like, I was so upset about that. Like, I hated my pops over it.
Me too.
But then you grow up and you see, like, I can't even blame him anymore because it's the system. It's what they've done to Black men in general. It's been on us to overcome it, and that's the hardest part. You know what I'm saying? Is taking, like, if you think about it, I had to take on, gosh, what, 300 years, 400 years of stuff that was done to Black men and say, you know what, I'm going to end it with me. I'm going to fix me. I'm going to work on fixing me so this doesn't happen to my kids.
And being that, not to cut you off, but being that you did it, you don't feel like the generation before you could have did it? Because I don't give my pops no slack because of that. And, like, I love them. I don't disrespect them. I met him when I was 30, but I'm definitely not going to give you no excuses of what the generation did before, because our generation, we faced some real shit too.
But you know, what I'm coming to understand as I get older is I can't tell somebody how to react to the pressure that they're feeling. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell somebody how to handle their own, because that stuff is PTSD. That's what it is. It's post-traumatic stress disorder. I can't tell you how to handle that. Like me and this guy, we got into it because, you know, he felt like, oh man, you know, everybody got a different situation. I made it out. Everybody should be able to make it out. And I'm like, you can't put that type of pressure on everybody because you don't understand. Like, I got a homeboy in prison right now on murder charges, you know, and he didn't even kill anybody. He was going to rob somebody, and the homeowner shot his friend, and he got charged with the murder. And so people don't realize, a lot of us don't realize that, you know, when stuff like that happens, you go to rob somebody, and they ready for you because they got a camera outside. If your friend died at the scene, you were in commission of a crime. They're gonna point that on. They're gonna put that on you. And so, but it's like nobody understands like what pushed them to the point of even wanting to go rob somebody. You know, like what's the desperation? You don't just wake up and say, you know what? Let me grab this gap. Let me kick this door open and let me stick some.
You're absolutely right.
No, it's pressure. Pressure. You know what I'm? They say, yeah. They say pressure versus price. Pressure forces you to commit crimes, and I mean. It's poverty, you know, and that stuff is deep. And so that's why I said, like, when I see these opportunities to come back and talk to kids, like me and a group of the guys that I work with, we went to Columbia High School for Career Day and made sure we were out there talking to the kids because I think it's important. You know, I see the guys that, you know, they took the responsibility of helping me, you know, to become a man. Because it's so funny because my stepdad, him and my mother that got married later, he was like, man, for your mama to have 3 boys and ain't none of y'all been in prison and jail, she did a great job, man, because she did that all by herself. And my point to him was, like, she didn't do it herself. There's no way she could have did that herself. Right. Not with the outside influences. They were too heavy. You gotta have positive people around you in order to be able to break that, in order to see beyond those things. Right. And
goes
so
back to the village you always talk about.
Yeah, it takes a village.
Definitely.
And people don't.
It's a system.
Yeah, people don't. Well, I mean. So if we don't have a village of our own, what village attracts us? The prison, you know, the streets, drugs.
If we don't got one, they got one for you.
And so you've got to take some sort of ownership in it. That's why it baffles my mind just when I hear people say, "Oh man, that ain't you." Like me and this guy, he's a banker, a white guy. We got into it because I was out with T.I.'s team, and we were canvassing, trying to get people to get out and vote for Stacey.
You started with some bullshit. I had to. I'm sorry. You said T.I. I always run that on the pocket, but I'm sorry.
But so I put pictures up on LinkedIn and stuff, and they were like, "How could you be with that drug dealer and that gangbanger and that convict?" And I'm like,
they haven't watched the last 10 years.
You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck?
So, but my thing is like, but what does that say to the community when they see a black guy that owns his own business merging with the folks that America's written off? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Coming together to do something powerful. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I hear folks, like I had a guy, he told me, he said, "Man, your business looks too black." I'm like, "Too black?" I was like, "Do you go to Walt Disney World and say, hey man, your business look too white?" And he got real quiet. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, if I don't do this for us, I look at it as, if I don't do this for us, who will? You know, and I'm not saying nobody else is going to step up. What I am saying is it takes that level of ownership to really start changing stuff.
You decided to play your part in the fight.
Instead of being somebody on the sideline talking about, oh, you know, I wish it was better, and just complain and just always say something like, don't say nothing, just do a part in doing something. That might be your piece of the puzzle to do that. It might be the next person's part to do something else to add into it, but you at the end of the day, you're showing what we need to take steps towards. Everybody got to take a step towards it to make it grow, because you can only do so much as a person, but you got to spark it in somebody's mind to be like, you know what? He stepped out, he got a story, this is where he come from, and he stepped out and he made these transitions in his life to better himself, to better his people. Now, if your people fighting against you, they just fighting against you. And some people just in their minds just so stuck on what they own that you can't even heal them.
But see, the thing is too, what I realized with our people is we gotta show them. You know what I'm saying? We can't fuss and fight with them, because that's not gonna get anything done. You gotta show them that the changes can be made. And I think one of the things that happened for me is like, and I tell everybody this, man, I'm like extremely grateful for my wife. And so not only is she great,
shout out to the wifey.
Shout out to the wifey.
But you did it.
But you know, and I'm gonna get back to my career and what led me here. But I got to talk about the individual pieces. But when I saw when we got married and I started to learn about her history, like her family, they're successful. Her dad, he was one of very few black people in North Carolina that owned his own veterinarian clinic. She owns her own OB practice out here. Her brother's down in Florida. He owns his own, medical practice. And I'm just like, man, like y'all just
like,
smart.
damn,
Y'all doing y'all things.
You gotta turn up.
Motherfucker like, damn, I got lucky.
I got lucky.
But it motivates you to be like, why I get my
damn real, because you ain't staying with no GYN nurse on no big dollar
I
salary.
gotta do something big.
But he got real creative.
I gotta do something big.
But no, it's crazy though, right? Because I got folks, they was like, man, you out-punted your coverage. And I'm like, I'm putting my coverage, I've been putting my best foot forward my whole life, But the thing that I came to realize is her story, and so I think it was her 5th great grandfather, he was born a slave in this country. And he bought his freedom. And he went back and bought his wife's freedom. And then he went back and bought his son's freedom. And I'm like, my father-in-law telling me the story, and I'm like, how you don't want to tell somebody they're lying, but you be like, oh, hey, you ain't. And he was like, I guess he could see it in my face, and he was like, you could look it up. It's on Harvard's website. And I'm like, Harvard? I'm like, okay. I'm looking it up, and I'm seeing this stuff. And I mean, it's just crazy, right? So this guy that was born a slave in this country, bought his freedom.
Broke the chains.
Bought his wife's freedom, and then bought his son's freedom.
His son.
Like, my thing is like, what type of place do you have to be in to say, you know what? I got to get out of this. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but if I'm classified as an object can be purchased. So let me figure out how much this object costs and work on buying it. So to get to this place of overcoming the things you're going through mentally, physically, and leaning on yourself spiritually, to me was huge. So
that is huge.
Yeah. So he gets his freedom, and then he goes to work over at Yale, and he's working as a janitor at Yale. And he tried to get to go to school at Yale, and they wouldn't accept him. So he's working as a janitor there, cleaning toilets, right? Cleaning toilets, sweeping floors, and he's bringing his son with him. And he's like, one day you could attend this school. Well, lo and behold, his son actually gets in. First African-American to attend the Ivy League school.
Damn.
And he graduated from the medical school.
What's his name? You gotta shout him out, man.
It's, what is, his last name is Creed. And it starts with a C. It's Cortland Creed.
Cortland Creed. Make sure y'all Google that. Real shit.
Yeah,
know that.
but it's inspiring. And so that was just so crazy. And so he opened up his own practice, and he had one of the most diverse practices up in the New England area at the time. And so when the Civil War broke out, he wanted to serve in the Civil War, and they told him, "Nah, we ain't taking no Negroes." What happened? They needed the Negroes to win.
Definitely.
And so when they started accepting Negro soldiers, they went back to him to lead the medical unit. So he served in the medical unit, which is crazy, So not only did he want to serve and get there, but he's a doctor. He's got this great practice, and then he's been handpicked by Abraham Lincoln to lead the medical unit for the Union soldiers. And I'm sitting over here, and I'm just blown away. But what's the trickle-down effect, right? The trickle-down is what happens to his descendants, which is my father-in-law, my wife, her brother. It changed all of their lives by one man that decided, I'm going to buy my freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have the first black Ivy League graduate without his father, because this was all during slave times. He graduated from an Ivy League school when there was still slavery. Like, that is what blows my mind.
That story just inspired me, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
But that's why I share it, because what I'm saying is, when I heard that story, I'm like, I ain't got no more excuses. I ain't got no more excuses. I'm not worried about my pops. I forgive you. I know you went through some stuff. But when I realized all it takes is one person to start breaking some chains, because it's crazy, because the thing that he did back then by serving in the medical unit, Yale University has this thing called Daughters of the Civil Revolution.
Okay.
And so all the women whose fathers fought in the Civil War are automatically accepted into Yale University.
Really?
Yes.
I'm about to look some shit up. I'm about to be up in there.
Yeah, but
at
so
least
that's
my daughter.
Yeah, so that's the thing that like tripped me out. So my daughter is, as soon as she gets her age, she can automatically go to Yale.
Man, you super lucky.
No, but what I'm saying, but it's super lucky. But who broke the chains?
I know, man.
Who broke the chains? You know, so when I see these things, I get excited because I understand that the moves that I make now are setting somebody else up for the future. Yeah,
we just spoke on that like our last podcast.
Yeah.
Legacy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But they always remember, you know, no matter if it's 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, it's always going to go back to how did this start?
Yeah.
Why is our family and our bloodline and the extended family is in a well-set situation?
Yeah.
You know, got a state and left some deeds behind,
Yeah.
left some LLCs behind, already set up. All you got to do is get in there and learn the trade, learn the business, and just keep it going. Like, that's everybody's dream, and I believe it should be everybody's dream. If it's not, they just still immature and need to advance to that part of thinking. But that's what everybody wants to be, to set that goal where they can be like, you know what? Because you're not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
That's one thing. We're not going to be here forever, but it's what we can leave behind.
Yeah.
What influences we can better off our generations. Even not just our own bloodline, because if you have daughters or they are married and their name will change and it still can advance over, and it's still our people.
Yeah.
I mean, and I say our people, you know me, it don't matter what race or whatever. It's just bringing in everybody. Whoever is in that family, in that bloodline, whoever you take on or you with, is going to extend.
Yeah.
And then you hopefully that it gets to other people's minds and we all can build together. That's just saying, if I know my legacy over here was strong and that I left behind, you have a legacy left behind. And we just have some great grandchildren that come together. So now we even stronger because there's a power on that side and there's a power on this side.
Yeah.
So that leaves a bigger impact for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To really see a situation and be like, you know what? Like, damn, it might have happened way back then, but it gives somebody else hope to build their own legacy.
Yeah. But that's what all of this is. It's about sharing these stories that create hope and transform our communities. I mean, think about this. Why did they choose Dr. King in the Civil Rights Movement? He was nobody at the time. Why did they choose him? Because of his mother's father, A.D. Williams. He had already, you know what I'm saying? He came from, they had already set the stage for him.
And he just had to put the work in.
Yeah. You know, we see these guys in like with Maynard Jackson, and we like, oh, he was the first black mayor, young guy, all these things, but nobody thinks about the people who set the stage for him, who his grandfather was, who his father was. And so at some point, we gotta have the men who are willing to what? Set the stage. We ain't gotta be the first to do anything.
Stage.
Yeah, set that positive stage.
There's a lot of stages set that don't be right.
Man, my bad.
But I'm listening. I'm just
not to me, for me, like, I'm just being real. Like, I needed to hear that because for me, that's exactly what I'm living my life to do. You know what I mean? To break the chains of what they typically see black people as, especially me, because you know I'm from the hood. I'm still aggressive a little bit and all that. Like the way I talk, it could come off the wrong way, but that is my main goal. Like, I made the choice to stop being a dog ass nigga to my girl because I'm like, yo, that is not gonna keep me with a family. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And now, like, that story just gave me hope because, like, you know, I do the podcast and I'm really, really doing my best to break these chains, but it ain't easy because I'm still fighting who I used to be. And that story was inspiring because I'm not gonna lie, some days I do feel like, damn, is you just another Brooklyn nigga from East New York? You know what I'm saying? And it just feels like I'm not doing the work, but hearing that story made me really feel good about what I am doing.
But I think every person who's ever done something and they were legacy focused, any of those people, I think they were all fighting their past. You know, I think if you're not fighting against your past, that means you're not growing, you know? Because, you got to fight against something because what is growth? Like, growth is painful. Growth just doesn't, you got to be butting up against something to have some type of growth. And I just think, you know, when I see some of these guys, and they can say what they want about street dudes, but, I mean, these dudes are some of the smartest guys. They just got to learn how to reapply that skill set. Yeah. Because think about it. How in the world do you sell product, but you can't broadcast it because the cops will come? Mm-hmm. But you got to market that you got the best product on the corner. Like, how do you even do that without alerting the police, but getting to your consumer?
Oh, you want me to tell you?
No.
I used to get busy.
No, but what I'm saying,
I do it.
No, I can. But what I'm saying is that's a great skill set. Now get another product. You see what I'm saying? Like whether it's one of them Oracle vacuums or something, get you something else and apply that same skill set to that other product and see what type of money you can make.
But see, that's why I like having brothers like you come on, because see, I want brothers to know like it's so many different careers that you could jump into, because I'd have never thought PR. Yeah. I'd have never thought, like, because I look at people all the time and be like, man, if he just do this, do that, it'd be all right, you know what I mean? But I never coming from where I come from, nobody talks about being a PR, you know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you, so I was 14 years old, my mom got fired, lights was getting shut off, all of this stuff, and all I'm like is, dang, what we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? That's all I could think about is what we gonna do. Well, my homeboy, he was going through the same thing. We both 14. We can't walk into Walmart and say, "Hey, can we get a job application to apply here?" We're too young. And so there was this organization called Teens Against Drugs and Alcohol, and they had candy, a bag of candy cost $6. Out of the $6, you got $1.50. So it's so crazy. I'm already like, before I even go to work, I'm already thinking in my head, okay, how many bags do I need to sell to make $100? And then it went from how many bags do I need to sell to what area do I need to go to sell that candy. Mm-hmm. And as I'm doing all these things, right? So I got a product, I've identified my target audience, I'm marketing towards that audience so I can get in there and make this money off this candy. And I know my mama had to be wondering if I was selling drugs or something, because I'm coming home $100, $150. I'm like, Mama, here goes some money, because I'm like, you often hear you the man in the house, you the man in the house. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to take care of the house. Yeah. And so she was like, man, what are you doing? You bringing money home every day. Like, what are you doing? And then she realized the organization I was working with. She's like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna let you keep doing it. But I had it scoped out. I was going into rich neighborhoods, wealthy neighborhoods, man. And I'll never understand. I knocked on this door, and it was the only black family living in the whole neighborhood. And the guy was like, man, what are you doing that for? And in my mind, I was getting a little frustrated with him, because I thought, like, man, you don't understand what I'm going through at home. Like, you asking me these questions like I got options. I don't have options, but I do have options. And he saw the options. I just couldn't see them because of the pressure around me. And that's why I say that pressure, it forces you to do things that you may not necessarily do if you didn't have that pressure on you. And so that pressure, I knew I needed to make money, but I knew I couldn't sell drugs. My uncle had been in jail. I understood that whole process. So I knew I couldn't do that. And so when they showed me Teens Against Drugs and Alcohol, I was like, cool, I can make some legit money and not have to worry about anything else. And so that's what I ended up doing. But what that helped me to see when he said that is, I didn't understand that. Like, when he was like, what are you doing? And he gave me some money. And he was like, don't put that money in the bag. This is your money, but know that you can do something else. And it just kind of, later on in life is when that kind of dawned on me. And I just developed these skill sets early, and so I get to college at FAM, and I grew up watching my mom go to school during the day and work overnight. You know what I'm saying? And so I had a news director that was like, hey, look, I was calling him about an internship. He's like, I ain't got no more internships, but if you want to come in and get some experience, I got an editor position at 4 a.m. that you can come in and do. I'm like, dang, 4 a.m., you cut into my club time, but I had to buckle down. There's no way I could watch my mom, go to school during the day, work overnight, and I can't handle a 4-hour shift. You know what I'm saying? So I started working on it. I was doing it for 6 months, and I get a call about promoting me to lead one of the producing positions. And I'm like, shoot, that's a big step. I wasn't really confident in writing for anchors. And so, when you hear the anchors come on TV and they're like, good morning, or coming up, X, Y, and Z, like, I was writing all that stuff for them. And so, I was just a little nervous about it, but I got into it. I was there for a year, and then the executive producer position opened up, and I got a call in office about that. And now you're talking about leading a team, And I was nervous about it. I was like, man, I guess I'm gonna take it. And at this point, when I got offered the first producer position, I had to come in at midnight. So I'm working from midnight to 8 in the morning. And then I'm going to school at 9 o'clock to like 3, which was crazy.
But growing up in a single parent home, where the hell did you get the discipline? Like, that takes discipline.
But it wasn't, I wasn't disciplined though. You know, like I was doing the stuff, but I wasn't disciplined. Like the discipline for me came later. I saw the opportunity and I knew that eventually the discipline will come. You know, I think the opportunities forced me to be more disciplined. It wasn't like I came in and I was just super disciplined, because when I did it, my grades tanked. And I was like, man, how are my grades tanking? Well, your grades are tanking because you're working all night and then you come into school and you can't focus. And so it forced me. And like when I say, and it's so funny because like folks are laughing, it's like, man, you got out of here by the skin of your teeth. Yeah, but I came out of here with 3.5 years of experience, you know what I'm saying, working experience. And it just opened up a whole new playing field for me. So I graduated, yeah, I got out by the skin of my teeth, but I had options coming out, which is crazy because there were kids I went to school with that, I mean, for like 4 or 5 years after, they just weren't in their field. And I'm like, dang, you know, like I was already in there because of sacrifices that I had made back in college. And I think that's the biggest thing is being able to, you got to be able to sacrifice now so that you can get something in the future. And I think that's the hardest thing for us because we come up with nothing. You know, people don't understand what that desperation and that pressure will do to you. And that's why I said, I mentioned my best friend's father, because those are the things that really helped me. Just being able to see, like I was able to see that, okay, if I do these things, I can be that dude. If I didn't have the vision of that, seeing that, I don't know what would have happened. And that's why I'm so passionate about, you know what? If it's a career day, or if y'all need a speaker to come in, I'll do it. If I got the time, if I don't, I'll make time. Because I know with just seeing that one example was the only thing. Yeah, that was the only thing I had to hang on to. I had a homeboy that hit me up. He said, man, I'm surprised that you're doing what you do. He said, I thought we was all going to be football players. I was like, man, I thought I was going to be in the pros too, you know? But I'm glad that I had a vision to fall back on. Because, you know, I'm coming out like I wasn't a great athlete, you know? Like high school's high school. But, I mean, it's a different level. Between a 2-star and a 3-star and a 5-star is a completely different level of an athlete. And so it's like, I think we hurt our young men by selling them on this dream of being athletes when that window to the league is so small. But you got guys out here just building stuff, creating. And that's the thing, like we gotta reposition and change ourselves. Like even with the facial recognition, that's being created by a bunch of white folks. So they're already having issues with how it impacts black people. Why? Because it's kind of like the laws of this land. They were written by white people and impacted who? White people the best. And that's why we're out here fighting for social justice. It's the same thing with technology. So we gotta have us in those spaces so that we get this equal representation. And so that's what I'm just really passionate about and doing. And so, but you know, I came out of FAM, 3.5 years of producing experience. I went to Valdosta, Georgia, started reporting. I reported for like 6 years.
Yeah, I saw that.
Fox 23.
Oh, what's the other one? I wrote them down.
Yeah, came back to Atlanta, reported at CBS 46 and 11 Alive.
11 Alive, Fox 23,
yeah.
CBS 46. You was putting in work.
Yeah, but then I got a crazy opportunity to lead the PR department over at the Fulton County DA's office. So that was.
Now, talk your shit. Don't just say that like that. Like that always did. You know what I mean? Let them be known you was the youngest, first of the breed. Come on, talk your shit. You ain't gonna be humble. I need these young kids, and I need these dudes from my hood in East New York to see this and be like, oh shit, like, because this, I feel like when it comes to the hood, there's only one black. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're not the hustler, the tough guy, and all that, then you just don't matter. And I want to show our audience that there is more than one black. There is so many different faces of blackness in so many different positions. We just have to seek the information, because it's not just going, like you said, they're not just going to give it to us. Yeah. I mean, we got to take it, you know, and that's why my whole motto has been, you know, change the narrative, fight harder, work harder, because those things, they say something to me. When I say change the narrative, it's like I don't have to be that guy from the block. Let me tell you a quick story. But I was 10 years old in Orlando, Florida. We went on a field trip to the juvenile center, and I remember one of the POs came over, man, and they were talking with my teacher, and I was like the only black kid with a bunch of white. That's the one thing my mom was great at. She was great at making sure, like, hey,
I need to get my kids in decent schools. You know what I'm saying? So they can see some of these opportunities. But we took this field trip, and I remember overhearing this PO talk to my teacher, and I heard her say, you know, Dante, he come out of a single parent household, you know, he could benefit a lot from this. And I remember she grabbed me by the hand and she brought me to the front of the line. And, you know, I'm the only black kid in that class. Like, what does that do to a black kid's self-esteem? You know what I'm saying? And she's like, you know, touch these bars. They're cold, aren't they? They're so, you don't want to come here. They're cold. You don't want to be this. And, you know, you see folks locked up, and who do they resemble?
Making you the fucking exhibit for the
You see what I'm saying? Like, and so, and then she's got me talking to them. The other kids ain't talking to the inmates. You know, why am I talking to them? You know, like, are you already, like, I felt in that moment, like, dang, man, I'm only 10 years old and they're already writing me off.
And what school you was in?
I was in 5th grade, Ventura Elementary. Yeah.
Is that where you started? Did you start off there from like when you was in 1st grade?
No. I think it was 5th grade was my first year there. I was in Washington D.C. before that.
Okay, because see, me personally, I didn't put my kids into more diverse school until they was, you know, 12 going to 13. After like transition to junior high school. Yeah. Just so they have their identity, so things like that don't occur. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that's something I focus on with my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because, right. I mean, she's still so young. And it's like, I even had to check. You know, I had to check somebody at one of the banks that I use. You know, like, my daughter came in, we didn't have her hair all glossed up and done, you know. Mm-hmm. She had a little bow on, and she was running around, and she said, oh, that hair. And like, I couldn't tell if it was sarcastic or how it was coming out. And I was just like, look, lady, my wife and I, we all about protecting my daughter's space. You know, we protect her space. And so when it comes to her hair and complexion and all that, we don't do all that stuff in front of her, because we don't know how she's gonna take it. So she was like, well, I didn't even mean it like that. I was like, I'm just letting you know, I don't know how you meant it. I'm just letting you know I don't want that type of talk around my daughter. And it was so crazy because
in the bank?
Yeah. And so one of her employees came up after and was just like, man, I really appreciate you saying it. It was a black girl. And she had her hair in the same way my daughter's was. And she said, I just think they don't understand these things.
You don't think he jumped the gun a little bit? Because she was
no, he didn't jump the gun.
Well, see, so this, and the reason why I was so quick is because, so my wife, I got to give her a lot of credit again because she's been extremely patient with me and really talking to me about the issues that black women face and the issues that my daughter is going to face growing up. And so she said, because I remember one time I was changing her, she had this huge blowout. And I'm like, man, how you get this and that? Oh, what in the world? Like, what in the world is going on? And my wife's like, yo, you don't get to have that discussion with her. You don't have a vagina, so you don't know this stuff. So you can't have that discussion with her. And for you to even bring that up as her father, like, you don't understand what impact that can have on her. So you need to change the way you're speaking to her. And it's so funny because that wasn't the first time and that wasn't the last time. This is an ongoing conversation because there was one time I came home and my daughter saw me coming in the door and she was running across the living room, and I'm like, girl, look at you with all this hair. My wife's like, no, we're not, Dante, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And, she was honest. She was like, there were things that were said to me when I was younger that were hurtful. And she said, I need you to really grow in that awareness of what you say and how it impacts your daughter. And that's been hard for me because I'm a man. I don't always see things that way.
And I don't think you'll react to either because when my last son was born, he was born with like really big hands. First thing this white doctor gonna say, oh, he's gonna be a basketball player. I'm like, no, he's not gonna be a basketball player. And the black nurse that was there, she was like, no, he could be a pianist. I was like, yeah, something like that. He could be something different. He's not gonna be the typical basketball player. And my girl, she thinks I'm a racist. You know what I mean? But I just be trying to check certain things because don't put us in that box. Like, why can't those big hands mean he's gonna be the best surgeon in the world or something? You know what I'm saying? Why you gotta be a ball player? Like, I'm tired of our representation only being one thing, you know what I mean?
And you don't think some of that be in the mind too? And
no.
Some with your thinking just automatically thinks, oh, is that or his instincts, because you never know what place that person coming from.
I don't think that.
You don't know if that person was just like, oh, and didn't say it with no malice, no, I'm trying to put you in the statistics. or nothing. You don't know if he go home to his wife black or his best friends black, Asian. He don't look at color.
So that means
you don't know how he came up, and they just free people that talk like that.
So does that mean that I can't say that my son is not going to be a basketball player? Why should that be taken offensively?
But I'm saying if everything was taken offensively, because for you to think like, oh no, he'll be this, to even have that manifest and stick in your brain to keep it as a memory, it bothered you. But if you don't even look at things like that to bother, that's just saying, okay, I come from a family of it's all mixed up, Native American, everything. That's why I don't really get into color disputes, because all my sisters, I got 7 sisters. There's 9 of us. And you met my brother. You see my brother darker than you, and how his hair is. My sister's hair is all kind of different shades and complexions and textures. My mother, everybody. So I get the point of hair and how people looks at textures of hair, and a lot of Caucasian women look at stuff because they know they can't get their texture a certain kind of way, and they be kind of mesmerized about it. And people be like, oh, because they always seeing weave and all this put in stuff. So when they see something natural, it's like, oh my God. I mean, and I get that because I know from my height, I get bothered by people coming to me like, oh man, you tall, you must have played basketball or this and that. I don't take offense. It's just what the mindset of people have been taught and trained to do. So I get a little irritated, but I don't really blame the person, because that's what they've been trained to do. It's just like somebody in the street that they've been trained to act a certain kind of way, and you take them to a corporate meeting and they acting like this. You can't be mad at them because that's what they know. They don't know how to have an intellect conversation.
I was retraining her.
But what I'm saying is, sometimes people say stuff without
coming. That's the problem.
I ain't gonna say thinking. I'm gonna say coming from a certain place, because I could say something and come from a cold-hearted place and say something so slick to you, didn't know I said something slick to you. But the person next to me might know I just said something slick to you. But you don't even take it because you just let it roll off, because your mind not even thinking that I just said something slick to you. But if I just say something just wholeheartedly like, oh, I'm freely to say it, not that I'm trying to disrespect in your face, and I'm freely to say it, and you took it a certain kind of way, it's like, that's how confusion starts, because that's just like somebody could not say nothing to my child, and I say my child personally. Somebody could not say, oh, he got height up, look at his hair or something. They could not even speak to him and just ignore him like he don't even exist. But just taking the time to be like, oh, you might be something great in your life, or da-da-da-da, whatever it is. I'm not going to stop a person unless I see they finna neglect my child, harm my child, or say something that I just bluntly, just disrespectful to my child. Saying the option of, oh, hands, because he could play basketball, the piano, like everybody making a statement. You could have just joined in to make a statement instead of taking offense to it. You said like your daughter, she come in and say hair, and everybody raise their children their own way. I just don't agree with saying, oh, that like taking that as a bad thing, because if that's their light, if that's their beauty, let it be shown. Mm-hmm. If you're known for your hair, maybe somebody might want to pick you up and put you in the magazine and have you as a model just for your hair.
So then why is what I'm saying a bad thing?
I'm saying it because it's like taking offense to what people may say. Sometimes we trained in our mind to automatically just, thinking we being a statistic. Everybody not like that. Everybody not an enemy or trying to make you feel like, oh, I'm finna target Weez, or, yeah, the black kids got big hands. Dad tall, he could be a basketball player. It just might be a natural instinct and be like, well, I didn't know. Like, genuinely, some people just be like, I didn't mean any harm. That's and really don't mean no harm. And the situation could grow bigger because we'll be like, oh, no, like, I hate when white people try to put me in a statistic or say this and be dead wrong. But we look like a fool when we do stuff like that. I've been a part of that type of foolery.
I'm going to tell you a quote. I'm going to tell you a quote that I got from Muhammad Ali. And this is how I look at it, right? Muhammad Ali was on the show talking to, he was getting interviewed. And he said that, because he was talking about, the white guy was talking about white people. Like, why do you see all white people as bad, da-da-da-da. Muhammad Ali was like, I don't see all white people as bad. But if it's 1,000 snakes coming my way, am I supposed to wait till they get to me to see which 7 of the 1,000 is good people? I mean, good snakes from which 7 of which part of the 1,000 want to bite me? So my whole thing is, I think it's okay for me to think like that because our history has shown that this is what they think of us. So I feel like I have to voice it and let it be known. And it could be a good person, but if it's a good person, then they should be able to understand exactly why I had to voice that. Now, I'm sorry, we're not gonna argue about that the whole time, but I want to get into The BET show.
Yeah,
Cop Watch.
Yeah.
America.
So it's man, it's been a real blessing to be a part of that project, being able to highlight it, because I mean there are just some issues here that I think, kind of going back to what he was saying, honestly, is if there's something that hurts us and impacts us, we got to train people on how to treat us. And so that's one of the things that my wife has been doing is training me and helping me on how to treat my daughter and protect her spirit confidence. Because that's one thing that I'm learning is just how fragile they are. But at the same token, we're fragile too. And that's why I was so big on being a part of this show and making sure that, you know, Attorney Griggs was getting the right message across, because it's a lot that goes on here. I mean, Tatiana Jefferson. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, you didn't park your police car in front of her house. You know, you never announced who you are. And that stuff only seems to happen to black people and people of color. And so at some point, we've got to say something in order to protect our children. Like, I didn't say I wanted to, I knew this show was going to take some heat. And I didn't do this show just because I wanted to do this show for fame. I did the show because I got a little girl at home that I don't, like, for me, people, because I always hear this thing of people say, man, y'all done taken on some powerful people. Y'all ain't scared? Like, my greatest fear is my daughter growing up in a society where her humanity isn't valued. You know, like, that's my greatest fear. I got nephews out here. You know, they are going to grow up. They're going to be of age at some point, you know. And I just want to make sure that those encounters that they see are going. Listen, if a cop says they're breaking the law, if they ain't got a gun, let them get their due process. Let them get arrested. Let them go to court. Let them have their day in front of the judge and let the judge give judgment instead of that judgment being passed on the sidewalk. And so that's one of the things I'm really huge on. And so you're going to see some cases in Atlanta, like we had a young man, Jimmy Atchison, who was killed in the closet the week of the Super Bowl. And ain't nobody want to talk about it because it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's the Super Bowl.
Bro, if you see this, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but bro, if you see the scene that they put on Cop Watch.
Yeah, but that was crazy.
No, bro, that scene just gave me the chills, bro. They showed a real scene. Like, the blood wasn't cleaned up, bro.
No.
Like, you see the blood on the...
Now just imagine his girlfriend, his parents, all his sisters, all of them having to walk through and seeing a pool of blood in his bedroom. And so people don't understand. They're like, well, why was he hiding in the closet? Because the whole time that, you know, Attorney Griggs and I were trying to raise awareness about this case, and, you know, we're working with some other attorneys, Tanya Miller and another PR person, Patrick. But as we're working to get awareness, everybody's saying, oh, man, why y'all going so hard for a dope boy, a drug dealer, stick-up boy, and all of these. And what people didn't know, and this is the thing I get so frustrated with this system is, so they execute this warrant, right? But the warrant, based upon the police report that was written, at the bottom of the police report, it said that the stories didn't match up, that more investigation was needed. The stories didn't match up because he wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy. You see what I'm saying? So they've taken something that happened and they've placed it on the wrong guy. And you come after him with guys with AK-47s and stuff, and they suited up in body armor. I'm gonna keep it 100.
They coming to shoot.
If I see a squad pull up on me like that, you think I'm just gonna sit there and drop? Fear what? Fear causes you to run. And so we can't say, oh, why did they run? They ran because they were scared. We've been watching black men bodies on the camera for how long?
And let's stop acting like this closet was like huge where he could have been fully loaded with artillery. This was a small space.
So check this out. Even the FBI, right? They disciplined the commander over that unit. They disciplined them because they didn't follow procedure. Proper protocol is what? Somebody goes to hide. You do what? You evacuate. You call in a SWAT team, and then you call a negotiator to get them out of the closet. That's proper protocol. And the crazy part is the GBI investigation, you got 4 officers in the room, but only one of them saw a gun?
That's crazy.
You see what I'm saying? And so, but the fact that we even had to put the heat on them to get this information out, because they still didn't find a gun at the scene. Why? Why did they find a gun? Because there was no gun. You see what I'm saying? Then you got the guy, Nicholas Bolton, who was homeless, sleeping in his car, in Coweta County
I
where the
saw
police
that
rolled
too.
up on him. And it's like the man is homeless, sleeping in his car. Like, this the thing that I don't understand. Everybody's going through hard times. There's been a time where I slept in my car. That's just what it is.
And you can see that brother was really living out his car.
Yeah.
You look inside the car, you can see like, oh, this looks like somebody that's packed up in their car.
And then, you know, we got the other story in Union City with Veltavius Griggs. Can't nobody tell you what goes on. The news media has highlighted this guy like this police officer, like he was a hero, you know, shot. The thing is, with Veltavius Griggs, they still don't have a gun. There's no gun. They have not recovered a gun at the scene. And then the medical examiner's report said what? The fatal gunshot wound was the barrel of the gun being placed up against the forehead. There's no video of this shooting, so nobody covered it. But the medical examiner said the fatal gunshot was a barrel being placed up against this guy's forehead. Man, what does that sound? That sounds like an execution to me.
Execution, man.
And that's the medical examiner's report. And so what I'm saying is, at some point, let's keep it 100, right? Ain't nobody marching for Ray Ray and Pookie. If we know Ray Ray and Pookie out here doing some real thug stuff, ain't nobody marching for them.
With the terrorists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the guys that we know were legit guys that didn't have a history of this stuff, and y'all pull this stuff. And even if they did have a history of it,
even if they did, it's
what
still
happened?
being, you still gotta go with protocol.
Give them due diligence. They had a doctor up in a dentist up in Brookhaven. Got mad at his wife. I don't know what happened. She probably cheated. You know how that stuff go. Well, he had all these assault rifles. Shot at his wife. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't let her out the house. He's shooting. Whole police department outside his house. They call in the SWAT team. They call in a negotiator. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, so you gave this man, and they ended up arresting him without incident. And I'm like, the fact that you can bring him out of his house, but the dude on the other side of town in a closet, you can't bring out of a closet?
We know what that's about already, man.
But what I'm saying is, you have to press these issues. And look, man, it's been really good, and I've loved to read the commentary on Twitter and the other social media platforms. Because, man, it's opened my eyes. You got black people all over the states, man. Like, man, we need this. We got to talk about this. Because it's the same stuff that Dr. King was talking about in 1960 at Jimmy Lee Jackson's funeral. And people don't even understand that these laws around policing, like, there have not been any significant changes since 1940. So that was before the Civil Rights Movement. So we just, you think NWA just came up with F the police for no reason?
Right. It's just bad, bro. So I think the Klan has really brought themselves into the system with badges.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I see it. Like, I don't look at it as white and black. I look at it as like those people in them positions, they would take those kind of jobs because it's authority.
Yeah.
And they feel like they can use that against us to do certain things. Now, you got some good ones, but you got a lot of ones that have infected the whole system. Because you might come in good, but they get around the wrong people and they get a certain training, get certain dirt on them.
Yeah.
Now they locked in and doing this bad stuff. Because it's deeper than just the killings.
Yeah.
It's harassment.
Yeah.
You know, they're dealing with. You got some people that's getting extorted.
Yeah.
You know, and they can't look at a criminal no kind of way when you're doing criminal activity.
Yeah.
You out here just as worse as the people that you're saying is doing X, Y, and Z. So it's just a lot that plays the part of it.
Yeah.
And it's just, as people, ain't nobody really stand together and stand strong. Back in the day, the civil rights movement, hey, everybody move. Man, I commend that. Because people ain't got everybody say, oh, if I was back in the day, in this time, they couldn't beat me. But they had way more heart. They were standing up. They came together. They don't do that no more.
But think about it. Those times forced them to have heart. Like, even like with my wife's, great-great-grandfather, like, how much heart did he have to say these chains ain't gonna hold me back? You know what I'm saying? It's a mindset. We live in a society where you gotta be willing to take it. Like, Dr. King and them weren't asking for the right to vote. They were telling you, you're gonna give us the right to vote. And at some point, we gotta get to this point. Like, I think it's a lot of us is still scared. We still live in an oppressive mindset.
I wanted to ask you, are you scared for the cast? I mean, because, you know, City I got to know personally, and City, you know, he kind of has like a radical way about his protesting. He's not afraid to, you know, pretty much get right up in the face of these policemen. Shar, I'm sorry if I'm messing y'all names up, but, you know, Shar, the young lady from Atlanta too, I really like her because she has a real voice. I like that she has as her Instagram Malcolm Luther King Queen or something like that. And then it's my man, the Navy vet, forgot his name. Patrick. And for me, when I watch it, and Griggs, of course. Yeah. But I honestly feel when I think about Griggs, like, man, ain't nobody going at no lawyer, because you definitely don't want to go at a brother that's educated and knows the law. You know what I mean? But then I think about the other three, and I'm not gonna lie, I even told City this when we was together, like, bro, you don't worry about these police trying to like knock you off for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think so. Here's where I am. There's no fear. Caution, yes, and I think with anything you need to be cautious. You know, I don't think you do anything without, but I think they are very strategic. I don't think there's anything that's being done that's off the hip. It's not off the hip. I mean, because think about what they've been able to do. So because of Jimmy's case, him getting shot in a closet, all Atlanta police officers now have to wear body camera. If they don't wear their body camera, they get fired.
Shout out to them for that movement.
The feds just announced that all of their agents got to wear body cameras. They announced that this week. And, you know, we got word that Keisha Lance Bottoms has already told Son Kim, the officer that shot Jimmy, you got till Friday, tomorrow, to either resign or we're going to have to fire you. And so what I'm saying is...
So she finally stepped it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I was there when they stormed her office and everything. She was avoiding all the smoke. Yeah. She wasn't coming out that office, bro.
Well, what I'm saying is that's accountability. And so, like, yeah, they might have some that are so passionate, because I don't look at City and think he's, like, too radical.
And I don't mean radical in a bad way.
No, I got you. It's just passionate.
Yeah, I mean, like, very passionate and willing to go there.
Yeah, but you got to think about the civil rights movement. What were they? They were passionate. You know what I'm saying? They were passionate, and they were so passionate that they had to train. They had to train the kids. Why? Because it was like, if they hit you with some water or some bleach, you know, y'all cannot respond, because if y'all respond, and this is a conversation that we have a lot. Like, if you're gonna take the role of standing on moral ground, you can't react or resort to the same tactics that everybody else does. Like, if you're gonna stand on this moral ground, it can't come out that you cheating on your wife. You know what I'm saying? Because that's been one of the knocks of Dr. King. As great as he was, I've talked to white dudes that was like, yeah, but he cheated on his wife. He talking about the way we treat black people. He couldn't even be faithful. Like, but what I'm saying is, whether we agree with that stance or not,
I know what you mean. Still,
from that morality standpoint, like, you were standing on morality. You were saying, I'm standing on justice, equality, and accountability. Like, but if you stand on those things, you got to get those same principles to your wife.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
And so that's what I'm saying. And
so if any scandals come out, we know you got that covered. Like you like Olivia Pope out here.
Look, man. Hopefully, you know, we can keep the guys just going home. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a joke. That's a joke, man. Those guys ain't trying to do nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
super in love with Kels. Yeah. I don't know who Patrick with, and Griggs got too much to lose, and Shaw, Griggs is out here coaching. That's a queen.
Griggs is a great dude, man. He is. You know, we've had discussions about this. It's really, look, man. If you want to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna help change this world. I'm gonna stand on morality. Like, if you're gonna choose to walk this walk, like, you gotta walk it. You gotta walk it in all areas of your life. You know, and that's it's not easy. You know, because there are a lot of things that the law doesn't say you can't do. Like, we were talking to Kenyette. She's one of the co-founders of the Meet R. Kelly movement, and she went deep on us, man. She was like, you know, y'all brothers that watch porn, y'all just as bad as, you know, the guys that's going in here to see these. But listen, I understood what she was saying, but what I'm saying is, the law doesn't say
we can't watch porn. You feel me?
You see what I'm saying?
Stop trying to ruin our good time. You know what I mean?
Well, listen.
we was having a conversation on team with my homeboys, the Israelite, bro, they looked at the 10 Commandments and they revamped it and it was like no pornography, and I was like, man, that's not in the commandment. There's something where they revamped it. It's all in this.
Everybody trying to do their own rebrand. Yeah. Everybody.
But listen, I understood what she was saying because they talk about, you know, sex trafficking takes many forms. A lot of those women in pornography, we may not know it, but they being sex trafficked. You know what I'm saying? And so her, you know, her whole thing is, and that's what I was saying, but that bridging the gap between black women and black men, that's a lot of bridging. And the more I talk to my wife about these issues, the more I've heard from Kenyette about these issues. I mean, that's a lot of bridging, man, because it's like, man, you really start to see how this stuff is impacting the community as a whole, you know?
I mean, I get it. But you know, this is my flagrant take. Always. I mean, these women always want to take our fun, man. Like now you want to take the porn. What we gonna do when y'all fronting now? Like that's our go-to. You know what I mean? If you want a faithful man, you better let him keep his porn. Just saying, that ain't his words.
That ain't mine. You know, that ain't mine. You know. So, but yeah, man. You know, I mean, I'm. You know, for me, like I said, I'm definitely always working on it, you know, putting different blockers and stuff on the phone. Because, I mean, I see where she's coming from, you know, because it's like, man, it's kind of like us saying, you know, back in the day, the women be like, why they keep putting all these booty shaking videos out? Well, it's because it's a lot of men watching booty shaking videos.
You know? Women, come on, let's stop it. These women be watching it too. As soon as we out the crib, they having a little hot girl summer in the kitchen.
Yeah, but they don't do it like we do it.
You really believe that?
I think it's some that have been, you know, from a mindset wise, who are just like a dude. But it's a whole lot more of like women who aren't like that than there already are.
I get it, but then when we knock things like that, right? Aren't we knocking the own women from our communities who's actually being paid to provide this service? And I'm not saying that like, oh, we should be hype about prostitutes or anything like that, but it's a job. I feel like that. A lot of things
so
like.
Let me ask you this: would you want your daughter doing that job?
If it's a job and she's being professional about it, yo,
I
know we're gonna hold on. I know we're gonna laugh. But I can name people like Melissa Ford. To me, is a great example of a woman that went from a video vixen shaking her ass, and now she's a part of Hollywood Unlocked, one of the biggest TV shows on TV right now.
I know, but I mean, did you read her book?
But everybody starts somewhere, bro. We all got a story, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this is where the Me Too movement comes in, and this is where women are like, nah, because I guarantee you that if there was another way for Melissa Ford to do it, she probably would have taken another way.
What was her dad? What was Melissa Ford's dad?
See, Melissa Ford, that's what a lot of people get twisted about. This woman is highly educated, college degrees, everything. It's just we only saw the video of Vixen, so we think like that's her, and that's not who she is.
No, I get that. But what my comment is, or you know, kind of going back to the point I'm making is, if she had another way, would she have done it? Because who over-sexualized the hip-hop industry? Women didn't over-sexualize. We over-sexualized it. That's what we like. That's the reality of it. And now they're telling us with the Me Too movement, it's kind of like, so here's my thing. How can we sit up here and say, we tired of how the police treat us, y'all pulling guns out, we tired of how y'all harass us, smack us around, we tired of all that. But on the same token, women are like, well, we tired of y'all making us shake our booties and stuff to get paid and make money and stuff.
We ain't making them do
that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, ain't nobody forcing these women.
But again, what does pressure do?
Yeah, man,
it bust pipes or it make diamonds, you know what I'm saying? Or it can make a diamond. And we done seen some of these women come from that and become diamonds. I'm not saying that she's wrong, but I'm not saying I'm wrong either.
Well, I want to be clear in saying this. I don't think I'm the best articulator for a woman because I'm just not a woman. I'm
just busting your chops.
No, but I'm just, you know, I know when people gonna watch this, they're gonna be like, oh, who is this dude think he is speaking for us? I'm like, y'all know I am not speaking for you.
He's definitely speaking for
you. I'm speaking from
get him, Black Twitter.
Grace and trying to understand.
Nobody don't want no smoke with black women, boy. Everybody get to explain.
Like, we get ready. They are being impressed by the man.
But let me tell you, man, I watched a Black Panther documentary, and the women were saying the minute they knew they were out was when they realized the freedoms that they were helping the men fight for were the freedoms that black men were denying black women. And so that created a lot of tension in the movement. And so being able to see this stuff, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get where y'all coming from. And like I said, I don't fully understand it, But I am trying to get to that place of understanding so that I can be an ally.
No, all jokes aside, men do need to step it up and be better men to our women. And the only way we're going to learn that is if we start having these conversations with our women, because they're the only ones who can really teach us exactly how they should be treated.
Oh, that's facts.
You know what I mean? So we just like, joking a little bit, but me and this man both have, you see, houses with wives. So I just told you, don't knock this over because I'm scared of my wife, so you know how that goes. Like,
your wife did that. Is this your daughter up here?
Yep. That's her when she was about 4. At that age, she's far from 4 now. My baby girl is now 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. It's tough.
I thought I had it bad, bro. I'm looking at this, but you got it bad, too.
I do, man. Bad part about it, she's a good-looking, popular girl. Like, I hate it, to be honest. But to all the boys in Georgia, guns are legal down here.
That's right. I got my own shotgun. We ain't playing that.
But, let's sign out, man. I do want to say this. I really do appreciate you driving all this way.
Yeah.
You definitely did not hesitate for a second, and you actually hit me just to let me know I was doing all right with my podcast. And I'm like, well, then why don't you come on? And you jumped on it right away. I appreciate that. I appreciate everything that you are doing for our people, because I know that you are really genuinely putting in the work. I want to shout out Cop Watch America because I watched the first 2 episodes and I am highly impressed with BET. And BET, I just got to be real. Like, y'all been, like, when it comes to, like, reality TV, y'all been dropping the ball. Like, super duper dropping the ball. College Hill was the last hit I feel like y'all had, but y'all got something right here with Cop Watch America. We better see a season 2. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't, then we already know it's a part of the whole system so they can keep us quiet.
But check this, real talk, right? So when I met this guy over at Hits, and what I saw is I saw Charlemagne, the guy that hadn't tapped into his potential just yet. You know what I'm saying? Like he had it, because you could tell. I mean, they were having some heated discussions in there, and you were just always you could tell that you were always thinking. You know, it wasn't just I'm going with, with the grain or I'm opposing the grain. It was I agree or I don't disagree, and here's why. And I just feel like what we're seeing is we see a lot of people that don't think about the choices and about the decisions and about whether or not how they're going to respond. But I could really see that. You could tell that you were well read. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why when you were saying that you were going on and you really, were all in with ConcreteConvos, I'm like, bro, do that. You know what I'm saying? Because our voices matter. You know what I'm saying? Big in their blaze, your voice matters. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you were talking, I ain't interrupt. You know what I'm saying? Because whether we agree or disagree, it's all about what? Bringing those perspectives to the table and challenging those thoughts. And so y'all do a great job of that, man. I really appreciate y'all opening up the platform for me. So.
And one thing I gotta say, because this is how we always close it, you are now family.
Family.
To ConcreteConvos. So ain't no getting away now, you know what I'm saying? If y'all don't never see him again, it is because he done went Hollywood on us. You know what I mean? He done went and bought another BMW. He ain't leave the one at the house for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
man, you gonna get you a Big Martha Washington too. That's why I call it Big Martha Washington.
No, you wanna know something funny though? And he was laughing at me the other day. We can shout out on this note because everybody gonna know how much of a bum ass nigga I am. But I told him, like, yo, bro, we ever make it big and we get rich, you know what type of car I want? He's like, what? I'm like, all I want is a Nissan Maxima.
It reminded me of Minister Science.
Dead serious though.
Nissan Max. That's all you want. You want a 2019 Nissan Max?
I do. Or whatever year it is. I did say that. Whatever year I can buy it. Fully loaded.
Check this though, man. Like, it's so funny because I got the BMW, but it's an older model. Just didn't have the miles on it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, dang, it's actually matches up well price-wise with a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and that's the thing, man. I think it's all about the power of knowing where we can put our money, how we spend it. Because we got a lot of power in our community, man. We got a $1 trillion spending habit annually. You know what I'm saying?
Annually.
Popular customers.
Yeah.
That's our people. We want to spend that money for some reason.
So, but that's the stuff that was ingrained in us. That's a whole different. We might be on
Made
here
us
for
hate
another 2
ourselves.
hours.
But yo, since you work with lawyers, you know what I'm saying? You know, me and Blaze, we just started. We could use a little pro bono PR.
Pro bono PR. I'll make sure I shout this out. I'm gonna share it on the gram, Facebook, Twitter. You know, put it on TikTok. You know, TikTok is jumping now too. You know.
Yo, Deontay, man, we appreciate you, man. For real, man. Love that you came out, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all boys.
Yo,
man.
this is a great episode of Concrete Convos. Make sure y'all follow my man. Look him up. Deontay Carter, PR Carter on Instagram. Just get involved with him. And he's going to be back. Because whatever new information he got or whatever new jewels he needs to drop on our community, this is the platform for him. Or if any black people are facing any injustices and you want to bring light to it, come right here. I will scream at the top of my lungs, or you could just send me a text and I will let it be known to my whole audience what's going on.
And I know folks hate when I do this, but he been calling me Deontay all show. It's Dante.
I caught it the whole time. I wanted to say it.
Why is it to the end of the show?
Because I want to see how many times he gonna say it.
I got a homeboy, you know, Tay name.
I'm signing out now.